It feeds into that emotional need. Within human species, there's no one woman and one man dynamic, creating more space for animosity and abuse.
You complete me.
I feel sorry for those who still believe in soul myth and wait for the right one to come into their lives. This topic should be discussed many times so that it can be internalized by people who suffer from loneliness and long after a relationship, long before they can learn to appreciate themselves first. This video gives an explanation to why there's no right person for each and every one of us. I would like to give my own 2 cents about this, comment the video, making it more dynamic. Let's dive into it.
Your fears are right. You probably won't ever find the right person. It seems harsh to say it just now, but the right partner for you doesn't really exist. There are just different varieties and degrees of wrongness. It's not your fault or theirs. Anyone, however lovely they seem at first, will turn out to be maddening, difficult, and deeply disappointing in a few, but to you, very important ways.
There is no perfect match, only those who can click with us on several different levels so that we can find common ground and move towards same kind of a personal development. And of course, there has to be desire, genuine one. Without any sexual desire, no amount of respect or friendship can uphold a relationship.
You are carrying the burden of romanticism and are suffering from it gravely. You have been made sick by the beguiling but fatally oppressive fantasy that there is a specific person you're meant to be with who will end the longing, who will be your soulmate, sexual companion, chauffeur, housekeeper, co-parent, business partner, and best friend. You see them so clearly in your mind. That's because you made them up.
We made them up with the help of Disney, with the help of Hollywood, with the help of general narrative that wants to uphold this fantasy, this myth about magical love that we should always strive to find. There's of course great reason to that, because we people are not monogamous creatures. Monogamy is something we constructed by necessity. Monogamy is a convenient way for societies to thrive and develop, knowing that you will be able to pass your genes on to the next generations will keep you at peace and make you to go out there and create. Procreation is our main job, and knowing that there's someone out there for us keeps the hope alive so that we can tackle through the adversities and someday fulfill our duties. The reason why myth of the one is so powerful is because within human species there's no one woman and one man dynamic. Throughout the history, very few men had the chance to procreate compared to women, and monogamy helped to solve that problem. For many more men to get the chance to procreate, and for women to get the protection and provisioning part covered. Sexual strategies of men and women are adversarial.
The most you ever lost, the coin toss.
So for us to come together and coexist, we have to compromise. And the myth of the right one helps to promote this model, especially for men who have much more trouble carrying out their biological imperative.
But they don't, in fact, exist. Advertising, films and music have done their utmost to convey to us that people do eventually, after a little heartache, find their ideal other, their long-lost twin. It's a very powerful idea to lean on when you're trying to sell a stranger a concert or a movie ticket. But it isn't true. The number of people around the world who are profoundly emotionally, sexually, practically and intellectually happy with a partner for more than a brief period is tiny. These lucky souls could, if gathered, comfortably fit on a small island in the Maldives. You're unlikely to be among them, and you won't win the lottery either.
As societies progress and we cast off any taboos regarding sexuality and active sexual life, we tear down any incentives for staying together in one relationship if something doesn't seem right for us. We have very few reasons to stay in a relationship when we know that we can go to the next one and create something more new and exciting. There's no shaming from society, there's no social consequence or any type of repercussions, which makes it easier to go on with your life, as your ego cannot bear the thought to come to a consensus with someone you hate for the moment being. Promoting this narrative makes a quick buck for Hollywood and Disney. Or, excuse me, not a quick buck. It's a generational, long-lasting indoctrination into believing something that isn't there. I mean, who would watch chick flicks? It feeds into that emotional need of feeling something exciting, knowing that there might be a chance for you also experience that someday. Consequently, making you less tolerant for something more real. You live in this fantasy. You project your own vision, a fake one, into the world, making a real connection very difficult.
However, this doesn't have to be the end. There is a more mature idea of love around that stresses how invariably compromised all good relationships are. Compatibility is an achievement of love. It shouldn't be its precondition. We manage to live wisely and comfortably around one another when we stop insisting that our partners must constantly share all of our tastes, interests and opinions. It's more than normal to be really quite lonely in large parts of our emotional lives.
What ends up happening is that people create these long lists, or I would say women create this long list of men that they would like to meet, forgetting what the real connection is all about. Men, on the other hand, jump into whatever they can come across, thinking that being with someone is better than being alone, letting fear to push them into relationships that they don't desire. It becomes a vicious circle of hate and resentment and anger, creating more space for animosity and abuse.
You complete me.
Relationships are not for you to become complete. Relationships are to help you in your personal development journey. But to be able to handle one, you have to be whole yourself. If not, you will be projecting your own insecurities and lackluster qualities onto the person that you are with, regardless of the type of the relationship you are in. The myth of the one creates more anxiety and pressure in people to believe in something that they potentially could miss out on, and what is scarce becomes more desirable. And the more time goes on, the more lonely you feel, the more anxious you become that you will never ever experience that kind of a feeling.
An important factor behind almost any decent relationship is the capacity of each partner to manage cheerfully on their own. Relationships don't solve the problem of loneliness for very long.
As I said before, relationships are for you to flourish together. And whether you are feeling good, bad, lonely, happy, you cannot project those feelings onto your partner. You have to have separate lives, own friends, your own social circle, so that you can give each other space to miss one another, to have time to process emotions, and come back more authentic and inspired and motivated than ever before. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
It's easy to lament how awful other possible partners are, but reflect on the ways you are difficult to live with too. You must be to a significant degree, not because you're unusually freakish, but because everyone carries with them a range of flaws and failings that show up horribly on close inspection. You will, to a significant extent, be ruining the life of anyone you get together with long term.
As mentioned previously, if you are broken, you will be projecting your own insecurities, your own demons onto your partner. And you have to see every relationship that you engage in as an opportunity for growth, a kind of mirror that holds against you your deepest, darkest secrets. And if that relationship fails, you take the time to heal yourself, to understand yourself, to become whole, and go to the next relationship, maybe eventually if you would like that, as a wiser and more knowledgeable person. Demons are for you to take care of, not to throw onto others.
Stop looking for a perfect partner and start looking for that far nicer and more enticing prospect, a good enough one. The fact that no one will be ideal doesn't mean that another person will have nothing to offer. It's just that what we need from them will arrive wrapped up in a lot of things we don't need and don't want. Hopefully, the long, painful single period hasn't just been wasted time. It's been a training ground for the true spirit of compromise and gratitude that lasting love demands.
One thing that people forget is that we all are malleable. and can change and adapt as we go. Besides, when you get into a relationship with someone else, you adapt their qualities and quirks and personality traits. It's not like that you are searching a CEO for a company who is already accomplished. You grow together, you give it a time. There's no perfect complete match for you, because a perfect match doesn't need any growth. And as I said before, relationships are for us to grow from. And we all can learn to grow together and find a common ground. If you're not convinced about this video, watch this one. It gives more information about the one. How did you overcome the fear of losing the right one? Comment down below. But for now, Hossein out.